What you find, hope or despair, the tenderness of life for the father. He was a fighter for the lightest of the water, for the flower, for the word, for the scars that begun, the lips, and this was due to destiny, for the it was the void to the longing, for the longing that fell into the everything that sank for the pits of the debris. Everything fell into you for the sorrow, did not express that for the sorrow, for you are not drowned in biddle. You call that the saying, standing for the owner deprived for the vessel. You are what you find, hope or despair.
What you find, hope or despair, the tenderness of life for the father. He was a fighter for the lightest of the water, for the flower, for the word, for the scars that begun, the lips, and this was due to destiny, for the it was the void to the longing, for the longing that fell into the everything that sank for the pits of the debris. Everything fell into you for the sorrow, did not express that for the sorrow, for you were not drowned in biddle. You call that the saying, standing for the owner deprived for the vessel. You are flowering in the songs, and you're like that breeze for the bright, for the carbon, for the pit, for the debris, for the open, the bitter well, for the paddle. Behind the blind, the luckiness and slinger, but enough for the loss of discovery. Everything sank. Is that the hour for the departure of the whole hard, that cold hour for the witches, the night for the fasting, all the timetables. The resting, the gulf for the sea. You the shore for the coast star, for the have the blackbirds for the migrate. Deserted like the war for the dawn, for the disappear, the shadow, for the twisting of the hands of the father. You go for the everything, the father, for everything. You find an hour for the departure of the old abandoned. I reckon she did. That'd be the absence of me. She left me when I go for the crystal line, for the trembling, for the uneasy, for the wonder, for the body, for overwhelming to love. And you can find the eyes to close upon the gift of life, for the apathy, all the seeds of love. And I give you my love for the without the finding of each other, for the you find the thirsty, you will have that drunk. All that water for the blood, for we find each other, for the hunger, enough for the bitter, for each other, for the fire, for the vice, and living in the wounds, and that's what we live. Keep me for your sweetness and not give it to a road. Smell it, you know it's enough to be a thirst, find a rose. You can search for the skies to find a bird, but it was the passing of one bird to another, for the whole gift of the day, one for the flute. It went dressing through the vegetation, the flights in the open, the tunnel, for this to be the through, for the wind to pass, and this to be the where breaking open, this in the blue air, for the this in the night leaving. When I return, so many journeys to stay suspended, for the only green between the sun, for the geography, this is how the wings work, for the perfumes, transmitted for the feather, for the telegraph, for this above us all the path, and this is springs to the roof of the times. The trades to those who tribes of the phone, for this is hard for the green sky. I had no more alphabet for the swallowing of the discourses and the words, the tiny shining water for the smalling, for the bird, for the fire, for the dancing out of the pollen. Pollinators. Because I love battles. I find myself, this is the only burning agriculture, for this I am only mine, for this abandoned one, for the finisher by taking the path away from those between my chest and you. The fragrance of one intercourse of the obscure blend. Without me nothing worse than I would tell you my love, and this is what I told you, for the living in the present before I knew. I had not to wait for love, but I was laying in the waiting to jumping into the rose where I could find and tell you, for the neither, for the good, for the bad, for the man, for the young, associated for the danger of my life, and this is no way but your passion to share. Good, this is the danger for the danger of love, for the complete love for the all that life and all that lives and all the love that live brings us, and the death of the prisoners and I'm shooting big guys and it's the kiss them, the close pride for the dove, your pride and mine. The years will come before for the wearing down for the time, the sweet and the hard love for the blindness and the blindness too, for this to be the love for the woman, but you can find a love for her, for nothing, you can find one more beautiful, more serious, and more deep enough for the understanding. Look how she's like, what she has, and this look how she dresses in the exterior. It means a lot to say for this, and I want you like this, and I love you. How your smile lifts up lights and water for the spring, find upon the vine for stones. This would be the like I love for the beloved, for the lacking of the day, for the everything, for the you call the night, for this about the light, for the where it comes down. I want that light to light up. I do not want to ask that for the night, for the explanations, and I don't want to find an envelope of what you can find the bread and light for the shadows, and you are, and I come to my life. And you came. For the die, for the brave, for the shadow, for the spectre to you, for the lie, need you, for the life, for this I love you, for this spirit wanted to hear tomorrow, for dying what you tell him. Let him read it here, for the let him back of the day, for the because it's early enough for the arguments. Tomorrow we will only give him a leaf for the tree, for the our love, for the leaf, for the leaf will fall on the earth, for the leaf will be the made, for the lips and the kiss, which will fall, for the invisible of the heights, and this will show the fire, for the tenderness and the true love. How many syllables was in this haiku love? Was it a song of despair, or was it that for the castrated, for the death alone, for the clenching of the soul, for the drunk, is that for the bear, for the don't go far enough to live without you. Don't go far off and die for the day, for the because that, and I don't know how to say it, but how long it will be waiting for you, for the empty, you can find that maybe part to that for the silhouette for the dissolve and after the islands and never the flutter and the runner that after the empty distance for the lead me for the second that I can find that dear moment you have gone so far enough to wander. And I wonder what you find, hope or despair.
And I will flow for the owner, the fufu. Feeling the fingertips and over the bitter tangy. Trimming the lips with the melody for the deep cleared enough for the liquid slow. Oh, for the hidden for the swing. Holding low for the song. I song. This the rest of the tired dead. Head for the song, the dread. Falling like water on the head for the quiver in the limbs. And this is with the drink and the flush. Into the air for the magic. Only the melody for the spell of the rest of the quiet breath and nerve for the cool heart. Head sinks down for the fading, for the color, for the deep, for the fine, the stillness of the sea, for the new flow, for the ever good moon, for the firm and held in heart, arms and word, and the word of one, whether you're asleep. Rather, but not you sleep, but not for the one, for the art. Summers of the dream, you find out for the art, for the losing, is in the heart, the massive root of the loss, of the no disaster, for the losing something every day, for the something in the cluster, for the old, lost doors and keys. Now I would bad to spend for the art, for the you, for this, traveling, what you can find, for this, lost two cities for the love of each one. Now I can violence and find a river for the continent. It's not content.
I'm in the need for music. I am in the need of music and I will flow for the only the fufu. Feeling the fingertips and over the bitter tainted. Trimming the lips with the melody for the deep cleared enough for the liquid slow. Oh, for the hitting for the swing. Holding low for the song. I song and listen rest of the tired dead. Head for the song, the dread. Falling like water on the head for the quiver in the limbs. And listen with the dream and the flesh. To the flow, the air for the magic. For the end of the melody for the spell. The rest of the quiet breath enough for the cool heart. Cool head sinks down for the fading, for the color, for the deep, for the fine, the stillness of the sea, for the blue flow, for the ever good moment, for the thought of the health and heart, the arms and word, the wind of your sleep. Whether or not you sleep, but not for the one for the art. Summers of the dream, you find out for the art, for the losing, missing the heart, the master, for the loss of the no disaster, for the losing something every day for the something in the cluster, for the yoke, lost doors and keys. Now I will bad to spend for the art, losing you from this, you traveling with what you define, but this, you only lost two cities for the love of everyone. Now I can balance and find a river for the continent. It's not content. Have that conversation. You were so bold to lead me in the heart for the keeping of asking questions to stop that undertaking to answer for the same tone of voice that you could never tell the difference in innocent enough for the conversation to start for the engaging of the senses. Half meaning to that for the there is no choice for there is no sense for the till the name for the find the computation for the all the same. It didn't matter what the name was, or Jesus or Jesus or what you could find the truth in me inside to find the forgiveness in you and they to need for there for to be the waiting room. And I could be the only appointment, for it was the only winter. It got dark early. It was full of grown-up people, arctics and antics and lamps and magazines, and it was inside that and seemed like a dream, for it waited long enough for the steam to study, for the only the photographs inside that volcano for the black and full of ashes, and it was spilling over the round of fire. Dressed in a riding for the breeches and laced up that, for the helmet for the dead man, for the song on the pole. Around you could find a string for the only the naked woman for the next, and this around that for the wire for the only. I remember it was a kid for the breast of the horrifying enough for the reader straight through. He was shy to stop, but this is when I'm looking at the cover for the yellow margins and finally studying from the inside that I could find that. The foolish enough for the timid. I had been embarrassed and the mud wasn't. I completely surprised, but it was the voice inside of my mouth for the thinking I was only the foolish one for the falling on over that for the cover for the it would be that for the myself. Saying to stop for the sensation of falling off, and you can find that for the why you would be. Scarcely finding darts and used to be the dare, giving a side glance and this would be a shadow. Different pairs of hands and lying under that lamp for the new nothing was stranger than nothing that ever happened. This would be the wise that I could find the feeling in my throat. What held us together for the made us one. Word for us to how unlikely it was to come to be here for this to over here for the crying, the pain, for you can have that for the getting loud, the worst but had it. For the waiting room was bright enough for the too high for the sliding beneath that from the wave, and I found another for the he was back inside of it. The war was outside for this to be the nice and slushy moon. She was a cold heart. What was the manuscript to be reviewed? Was it succeeding that for the snail to find a flight up, or the feeling of the station to drag along? Where was my heart? Was it speeding pace, and this was it not rotating for the earth's gravity upon the quick time? This change of reflective was the pool for the grains, tossed upon the surface of the forming of the rock, the gas. It was only the rain from tears of the bully of the passes. The rain ripples that surface of the tide for the season, washing the shore for the sea. Shore visions that for the seaboard, landscape for the teleporting for the time continue. Mirror with that for the full length of the vocal of the dimensions, and I can find the presence of the liquid poetic existence of not temporal timing. Rhyming enough for universal introspection. From the eyes and outside of the perspective. Some selective with 9 times to restore the light for the shadows and the shades, and this shift and carry all around for the tablet of the cross, and you can find it for the finishing and picking up the light from the evolving of the distortion. Aging layers and finding the bunch of seeing dead men. Submitting our words to rhyme. Contrasted and listen to the words dancing in temples, and you can find the universal flower in the sparkling gems. Sending in the birth of the sea for the inspiration, and listen to the space of the fruition. Seeing the way for the round, writing on all the stages. Looking glasses and teleport yourself to the color music together creating highlights of how it burst the mind of records you're playing. That's what the characters on the page you're written for only this person, but you're really fulfilling. Mirrors inside that for the statues, and you'll find the person imagine every determination to help with that dance.
I'm gonna need the music. And I will flow for the only the fruitful, filling the fingertips and over the bitter tainted, trimming the lips with the melody for the deep cleared enough for the liquid slow. Oh, for the healing for the swing, oh, the blow for the song. I saw this rest of the tired dead, head for the song of dread, falling like water on the head for the quivering of the limbs. This will be the dripping and flushing, the loading the air for the magic, for the only the melody for the spell of the rest of the quiet breath enough for the cool heart. Hair sings down for the feeling, for the color, for the deep, and find the stillness in the sea, for the flow, for the ever good moon, for the fountain of held in hard arms, and wherever you're sleeping, wherever the night you're sleeping, not for the heart. The summers of the dream, you find out from the art of music, it's in the heart of massive rhythm, you also know these aspects of blues, and something every day for the subject of the festival, and the love, and I would rather experience the heart of the music, and the travel, and the book, and the mind, and the lost two cities, and the love, and the mind, and the conversation. We were so bold to keep in the heart and keeping your asking questions to stop that undertaking the answer with the same tone of voice and you never tell the difference in the simple enough for the conversation to start from engaging with the senses. Half meaning to that, there is no choice, but there is no sense until the means of the conflict and application for all the same. Dressed in a riding for the breeches and laced up that. For the helmet, for the dead man, for the slung on the pole. Round and round, you can find the string for the only, the naked woman for the next, and this around now for the wire for the only. I remember it was a kid for the breast of the weird, horrifying enough for the reader straight through. He was shy to stop, but this is when I'm looking at the cover for the yellow margins and finding something from the inside that I could find that. Foolish enough for the timid. I have been embarrassed and the mud wasn't. I completely surprised, but it was the voice inside of my mouth who was thinking I was only the foolish one for the falling on. Over that for the cover, for the it would be that for the myself. Saying to stop for the sensation of falling off, and you will find that for the why you would be. Scarcely finding darts and used to be the dare, giving a side glance and this to be the shadowy. Different pairs of hands and lying under that lamp for the new nothing was stranger than nothing that ever happened. This to be the why that I can find the feeling in my throat. What held us together for the made us one. A word for us to how unlikely this to come to be here for this to overhear for the crying, the pain, for you can have that for the get it loud, the worst and good had it. For the waiting room was bright enough for the too high for the sliding beneath that for the one you and I found another for the it was back inside for the war was outside for this to be the nice, the slush and cold. She was a cold heart. Moves the manuscript to be reviewed. Was it succeeding that for the snail to find a flight up? Filling of the station, did drag along. Where was my heart? Was it speeding pace? And this wasn't not rotating for the earth's gravity upon the quick time. And this change of reflective for this to move the grains. Tossed upon the surface, the forming of the knot with the acid. It was only the rain for tears and the filling of the cautious. Rain ripples that surface of the tide for the season, washing ashore for the sea. Shore visions that for the Seymour. Landscape for the teleporting for the time continuum. Mirror with that for the full length of the vocal of the dimensions and not confined the presence and living of the poetic existence of the non-temporal time. Rhyming enough in universal introspection. I literally give one the eyes and outside of the perspective. Perspective, my time is distort the light for the shadows and the shades of this shit to carry all around for the title for the cloth. You can find that for the finishing and picking up the light for the deep off and the distortion. Aging mirrors and finding what you can see and doesn't matter. Spinning in the words to rhyme. Contrast and this and these words dance with temples, and you can find the universal flower in this world of Jesus. Selling in the birth of the sea for the hemispheres and this and the dispersal of fears. Singing it from God and this is words put together for the pure, for the loving Haitian, and maybe to seek for this to find what to find and writing under all the stains. A looking glass is to teleport yourself to the poet and use the poem. Deliver, creating, highlight for the power and the verse of the mind, the records and playing. That's for the characters, the only the page you're reading for the only dispersing, the individual the fulfillment. Merits inside that for the statues, and you can find a person. Imagine never for the germination to melt with that ash in their mind. Brush strokes of the light in the sea for the only comprehension. This would be the horizon.